an absolute treasure to our World Stuttering community, and I am
Thank you.
so happy to see you, and thank you for speaking today.
Thank you.
Whenever you're ready to start.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Phyllis Edwards and I come from New Zealand. And I'd like to say a special thank you at the start to the World Stuttering Network for the opportunity to share my experience, as it's amazing how that carrying it forward just opens more and more doors, and at the same time, your self esteem just keeps going up and up. So, carrying it forward is a simple phrase that has transformed the way that I look at the world. And my story, as Thomas shared, begins with an accidental but life changing discovery, finding an online community and Facebook groups for people who have a stammer. While exploring these groups and pages, I noticed that the Stammer page group was sharing about a conference held in Cardiff, Wales, and I asked my lovely supportive husband if we might go, and off we went. And it was so inspiring listening to so many brave people sharing about how they were achieving their dreams and goals. And on returning home, I messaged one of the keynote speakers, Anita Blom, and I explained how inspired I had been and how her words resonated with me. I asked her, well, what am I meant to do next? In her wisdom, Anita said, Phyllis, just try carrying it forward. These words echoed in my heart. Soon it was time to go back to work, and I felt encouraged to embrace my stammer. As my day started, I was greeted by Joe, a 4-year-old boy, and his friends who were waiting at the door holding some favourite books. We quickly settled on the couch where we read several books and finished with Joe's favourite book called There's a Hole in My Bucket. Later, while pushing Joe on the swings, I told Joe how much I loved reading stories to him and his friend. Well, without missing a beat, busy swinging back and forth, Joe answered, I love you, Phyllis, even if you do have a hole in your bucket. Joe's heartfelt words of wisdom spoke right to my heart. I knew he felt safe and seen and heard. It meant so much to hear his words. When I first qualified as an early childhood teacher, I was excited about my dream job, but anxious knowing I would be required to read stories out loud to the children. I worried if I took too long to get these words out that the children may lose interest. So this motivated me to find ways to actively involve the children. For example, when I was reading stories, I'd encourage a child to choose a book for me to read to the group at that time. And then after that they handed me this book, I would thank the child who chose it and let them share why they had chosen that book. Then I would encourage the children to listen to see if they could hear their names and their friends' names in the story. And so story times soon became interactive and fun as you could see the interest and concentration on the children's faces, their smile and their delight of going on adventures and being helpful in the story. While at the first conference I attended in Cardiff, Wales, I was having a look for a book to bring home to read to the children at the centre where I was currently working. I was very happy when I noticed a book and a duck puppet sitting on the table. I wasn't sure why, I just felt that they just had to come home with me. So, as the plan for my mat time, about a week later, I took the puppet and book to work. I hadn't used a puppet when reading a story before, so I began by introducing my new duck puppet who I called Phyllis Duck. It went okay, but on reflection, I just felt one puppet wasn't quite enough to be truly interactive. And so a week later, I tried again. This time, I took a story I had written along with a whole group of puppets, and I asked if the children would like to help tell the story using these puppets. Well, two 4-year-old girls put their hands up really quickly, and I thanked them for offering to help while offering them a choice of the puppets they'd like to work with. Then I started to read my story. These girls showed so much confidence and interest as they worked with their puppets using their own actions to match their words. I saw how quickly and confidently these two girls got into their role, having fun and enjoying themselves at the same time, as well as involving the children who were in the audience. And you just saw so many waves and smiles, and it built my confidence to continue writing more stories. Around this time, we moved to a different town, and I started to relieve at Libin Montessori, where I noticed oral language activities seems to be an important part of the curriculum, and it's always been in my heart as an early childhood teacher with a stammer to encourage oral language activities and build children's confidence. And so I just thought I just ended up in heaven, really. And so I asked Fire Ash, our lovely supervisor, if I could please bring Dillista, who couldn't quack like her siblings, but who had the most amazing squeak. Dillista is an adventurous duck who goes on adventures where she does kind deeds for people. And after her first visit, she made regular visits to the centre, and I appreciated how generous this team are at sharing their mat times with me for Gillis Duck's visit. So I think this was why I was motivated for two reasons to want to present this activity just lately using for the first time both props and a group of puppets. And the first reason was after completing a second course with the Education Hub online with my husband's technical help, called Social and Emotional Competence, which also included working with puppets, which I found really helpful and motivating and increased my interest to keep encouraging oral language. And the second reason was having shown all the oral language activities and social skills that the children are still given opportunities to use in my work environment. I thought that the children would enjoy helping and be keen to be involved. They were, and they all did a very good job. So on the day, I began by following my plan, which was as the children arrived at mat time, I asked for some helpers to help share in telling the story. And the children were very eager. And when they were seated on their chairs, I handed out some props I had made, which I called photo cards, and it had objects of what I'd be reading in the story. And when these children were each proudly holding a photo card. After thanking them for being happy to help us, I asked that when they heard me reading about the item on the card, if I gave a little wave, could they please stand up and bring their card down and lay the photo card on the mat, and then come back and sit down on their chairs. Lots of yes, yes, we'll help you could be heard. Also, as part of my goal was to give everybody an opportunity to take part, I asked the other children who were sitting on the mat with their teachers if they would like to do an important job and be part of the audience. Again, there were smiles and nods and yes, yes. And I thanked these children for their help. And I said, next time you guys might have a turn on the chair. And as I looked around to check that we were all ready to start, I saw teachers via Alice, via Courtney, and via Stella all seated on the mat, being their usual supportive selves. What an amazing team. Via Ash, our supervisor, happened to be away that day, but she has always played a big supportive, encouraging part in Phyllis visits. And so I wasn't worried about how it would go today, as I knew that these willing teachers are always ready to turn themselves into puppeteers and join in. No rehearsal needed in this team. Later, reflecting on how the activity had gone, I knew that the goals I had set to create an interactive activity had been met with the help of the teaching team and because of our environment and how our activities are set. And so I came home and was really pleased and grateful. And I have a friend called Raywin who I have video calls with, and for weeks and weeks later, Raymond would listen so patiently and be so encouraging as I shared about the stories of how we could see the children's growing confidence, enjoyment, and interest, and how that the children interacted so well using the puppets with their teachers and friends. Then, a couple of months ago, during a video call, Raywin asked me if it would be okay if her and her friend could come up and have a chat with me about publishing the stories, as I knew that they're both experienced in this area and that they would understand where I was coming from. I said, yes, that would be lovely. And so on the following Saturday afternoon, these kind ladies came up, and after we had chatted for a bit, Raywin gently asked me a question. She said, Phyllis, in what form would you like to see the stories you've written presented? I was hesitant to share as I had one of my ideas in my head, but I felt comfortable with these ladies. And so I took a deep breath and then I said, this might seem unusual, but I really love to see it presented as a resource. I felt such confidence from Raywin's encouragement as I saw her smile of acknowledgement with her gentle prompting. I opened up about how that I wanted to share the story as a resource, as a small way of saying thank you and to pay tribute to the speech language therapist agencies such as START in New Zealand, families and researchers, and groups such as the WSN, who just changed lives. My other reason was is whenever I see or hear young children who they happen to have some kind of communication hurdle, it is so good to see them having these activities, and you can see the child's confidence grow and see them explore ideas and learning through body language, play, and imagination. Children and young people receive so much more support and encouragement these days, which I feel helps them to fulfill their goals at a much earlier age than in my day. An example of why I feel so passionate and pleased of all of the support and encouragement given is because not often, but sometimes I am reminded of what it was like growing up with a stammer. I do try to let the negative memories go, but every now and then they feel very vivid. For example, I remember being a 7-year-old girl 65 years ago when the resources and the support were not so freely available. For example, I can still remember the sadness and loneliness of seeing some children having fun, taking turns on the swings and trying my best to ask, can I have a turn? The girl on the swing said, sorry, no more room on the swings. I remember walking away feeling sad and lonely with my head hanging low and trying to keep myself from crying. Then I remember seeing a big bit of cardboard and a piece of chalk lying under a tree. I just walked slowly over, picked them up, and started scribbling. Then I drew a sunflower. When I used up all of the room on the cardboard, I knew I was feeling happier, but I didn't really know why. Then from that day, whenever I was feeling sad because I thought no one could understand me or they just hadn't had time to listen, I would draw some paper to draw a picture. Later, as an adult, I would write how I was feeling down on paper and just keep them. As I grew older, they turned into letters and poems. It helped such a lot and still helps today. And here I am sharing my story with you all. Carrying it forward is all about taking what you've been given and thinking about how you can bless someone else. It's a bit scary at the start, but it gets easier as you put yourself out there. And the WSN page was such a comforting and supportive page to start. So carrying it forward has brought me joy, confidence, and acceptance. Carrying it forward has given me so much appreciation of others and the unique gifts and talents that they bring. And I'm so grateful for those within the stammering and stuttering community who continue to support and carry it forward with me. And for the moderators and admins of Facebook pages and groups like the WSM volunteers and staff, amazing women like Pamela Mertz and her inspiring podcast, Women Who Stutter, and for my adopted sister and friend Alexis, who I discovered online, and we have weekly meetings where we support and help each other. And for Anita Blom and her wise mentoring, even if I adopted her as a mentor. And so thank you to all the amazing supportive encouragement both inside and outside of Stuttering community. I just so appreciate the love and acceptance that you all show me and each other. And I'm especially thankful for my wonderful family and for all the children in my career who have taught me that it doesn't matter how long it takes you to read a story, as long as you read it in a fun way. And to Sophia, who proofreads my work and works miracles and makes sense of what I am trying to say in my heart, and for the belief that she has shown in me, actually helping Raywin and myself on our resource project, which we are working on. And so carrying it forward has been such a healing and empowering experience. So thank you all for leading me to a place where I can now look in the mirror and see myself as a proud, interesting old lady with a interesting sense of humour who has to have a stammer. And as I shared, and it's just truly important to me, my husband and boys who just grew up accepting a mother who, yes, might have a stammer, but wouldn't stop talking and planning surprises. So thank you. Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much, Phyllis.
Oh, thank you.
I'm looking in the comments, and
Oh,
Greg from Newfoundland says, "Thank you, Phyllis." Uh, David Dallow says, "Phyllis, are you from New Zealand? I would love to contact you sometime." And he's got an email address. David from Brisbane. So
thank you.
yes, Phillips. On a personal note, Phyllis, thank you. Thank you for being part of StutterFest. I think one of your speech is always one of the highlights of StutterFest for me.
Oh, thank you.
It really is. It's always from the heart.
And, like sometimes I feel like I'm boring as I write on your page and I just want to get it across as much as I can. Pages such as yours and that and others as well, but I just adopted your one too is so life changing. It really is. It opens up doors, and like for me, I thought all of these other people they've got stammers and they're not moaning and complaining, and they're having lives. And so I just really love you guys. You're just the best. Sorry. Oh,
We love you too, Phyllis, and I'll tell you that the boring people are the ones that just talk about themselves.
I know.
Love,
Thank you.
and you talk about helping people and helping children, and you talk about the moments that have touched your life. You
Thank,
are never boring.
thank
You're
you.
always fascinating listening to you, and thank you. Thank you for
And
being part of Stutterfest.
thank you. And can I say just one more quick thing, and
Sure,
then I'll let you
take
go, I
all the
promise.
time you want.
There's the Angel Girls, and there's three of them who offered to watch at the moment. And these girls have been with me a long time, and their belief in me on that is amazing as well. And so, thank you, all of you. It just makes such a difference, to your life. So,
Thank
thank you.
you
Love
once
you.
again, Phillips. Thank you to your technical support team,
Technical support.
wherever he is, wherever he is.
I think he's hiding behind the door. Oh, here he comes. He likes you. He
Thank
appreciates you.
you. Thank you so much. It is such a pleasure. Uh, Thank you for sharing Phyllis with us.
Oh,
You're welcome.
She's one of the high points of StutterFest.
thank you so much.
We so enjoy having
Bye.
you. Okay. Thank you, Phyllis. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Okay. So